I consider myself a bit unlucky to have to speak right after Guy. Such a fascinating talk and on such an important topic about longevity. But I'll be talking about marketing, and I'll try to do it as entertaining and as engaging as possible. So today, this is what I intend to cover. I'm going to start with generative AI's marketing superpowers, discussing the key capabilities that make it uniquely positioned to help us in marketing. Then I'm going to briefly outline the 5 Ps of ChatGPT marketing use cases. And then we're going to dive into a practical exercise where I'll open ChatGPT terminal and do a couple of things in a sequence just to show you how it can help end to end with various marketing use cases. And then finally, I'm just going to outline 10 steps of scaling marketing AI within organizations, and then just leave you with some additional reading and also with some useful resources that you can explore after this presentation. But starting with the marketing superpowers of generative AI, and these are AI's language processing, computer vision, and predictive analytics capabilities, which are set to revolutionize the field of marketing. AI's language-related applications, such as natural language processing and generation, can automate customer service, generate personalized marketing communications, and understand customer sentiment. These can then drive more intuitive shopping experiences, tailored campaigns, and help us do real-time adjustment. AI in vision offers opportunities for personalization and creative marketing. It can analyze images and videos, identify emotions, and even allow facial recognition for payment. This technology enhances customer engagement and offers unique ways to connect with audiences. However, it's also important to be mindful of the potential for misuse of AI, like in the case of deepfakes, which could potentially threaten both brand image and integrity. And finally, AI-powered predictions and decision-making enable more tailored and efficient marketing approaches by predicting outcomes and also drastically reducing the risk of ineffective campaigns with the help of doing various iterations and simulations before launching real campaigns. Now moving to the 5 Ps of ChatGPT and how we can use it in marketing. Basically, it's revolutionizing the way we can do work across 5 critical areas. In planning, it allows marketers to analyze vast data sets, identify opportunities, develop targeted strategies, score leads, understand consumer behavior, and foster strategic partnerships. When it comes to production, AI also can help us create data-driven content, predicting content performance before we deploy it, personalizing content, and designing interactive online spaces like metaverses, immersive 3D websites, etc., etc. With regard to personalization, it can assist in enhancing user interactions through AI-powered bots, which can be integrated into website or various immersive spaces, and providing real-time tailored content and personalizing emails. The tailored content aspect can be very helpful in terms of analyzing data in real time and adjusting the first pieces of data that come on an interactive blog. For a website and personalized emails, it's quite obvious we can segment our audiences based on predetermined data, and with the help of AI, deliver them personalized emails instead of having a one standard copy for everyone that's receiving it. With regards to promotion, AI helps in audience targeting, predicting successful creatives, delivering individualized content experiences, and helping us adjust digital ad spend in real time based on the performance of our ad campaign. And it can also help us identify social media trends as they emerge, and some companies have already incorporated that into their offerings. Finally, performance-wise, AI helps measure return on investment, identify top-performing content, forecast campaign results, predict revenue potential, and monitor marketing trends. So to sum up, AI is a transformative tool for marketing. significantly enhancing various aspects, including user engagement, personalization, and performance. Now, as promised, I'm going to jump into a practical exercise, but before I do that, I just want to pause here for a second and allow everyone an opportunity to ask me any questions before we open the ChatGPT terminal and show you how some of these things work in practice. Okay, assuming there are no questions, can everyone still see my screen?
Yes, it's visible.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, cool. So I will be using ChatGPT 4. I find its functionality better, and also the added benefit of using plugins is quite helpful. And I'm also going to enable, there is a variety of useful plugins. It's beyond the scope of this presentation to cover all of them. But for the purpose of our exercise, I'm just going to be using the access link one, which allows us to have access to external links. Now I'm going to go through a couple of different steps, showing you an end-to-end exercise that we can do from a marketing perspective, and then use the output into our day-to-day activities. So the first thing that I'm going to do is, and I have my prompts here on the site already prepared, so just be copying and pasting. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to ask ChatGPT to go and review the World Data Congress website, identify 3 to 5 primary buyer personas, and write one short paragraph for each. Now, I invite everyone in the audience to recognize that we're doing this in real time. As we know, ChatGPT is very advanced, but it is doing some hiccups. So please be patient with me if we have to adjust things as we go. Okay, so at the moment, as you can see, it's using that plugin to access the World Data Congress website. And we're seeing that it's already generating the output. And based on the question that I asked, it's beginning to introduce a short paragraph for each of the top buyer personas. And just for context, from a marketing perspective, knowing your buyer personas is a very fundamental key step, because it's helpful then with your go-to-market strategy. It's helping inform product and service decisions. And of course, as we're going to see in our practical exercise, this is going to help us identify key themes, keywords, and then formulate various blog posts that can help us inform our content strategy. Cool. So we have our first step. ChatGPT accessed the website and it came up with 5 different buyer personas. Now, in the second step, what I'm going to ask it to do is to list all the relevant information that may be helpful in terms of fleshing out a little bit more these buyer personas. And as I'm doing that, I'm also introducing some of the best practices that I've discovered working with ChatGPT very intensively on a daily basis over the last couple of months. And this is the act as prompt. So I'm asking it to act as a competent chief marketing officer. And this is slightly tweaking the way it's going to approach the problem and the solution. And then I'm asking it to list all the relevant information, fields, questions, and sections that a competent chief marketing officer would include when designing a buyer persona. Now, as you can see with step 1 and step 2, in the third step, I'm actually going to take one of these personas and provide detailed information on it, which is going to inform our next steps. And as you can see, it's already generated more than 14, and it's still going 15, 16 different dimensions relevant for a buyer persona profile. And in step 3, I'm going to do the following. I'm going to ask it once again to use the plugin so that it can access, for example, the World Data Congress website. I'm asking it to treat this as our business. And I'm saying now, based on your response above, create a detailed buyer persona covering all 16 outlined items for the following profile. And I'm just going to scroll up and pick one of our profiles. So I think I'll go with this one. When I was doing this exercise as a preparation before the session, I got some good results for that. So I'm just going to go with it in the interest of having a more reliable showcase for all our visitors. And of course, submit the message and witness in amazement the accuracy and depth in the response. As a reminder, the first question was about demographic information, and based on ChatGPT's knowledge, And with access to the website, it's already beginning to generate the kind of information that I, as marketing leader, will be very interested in. And as it's preparing its response, I'm just going to briefly go through some of these items and explain why they're important for us. The demographic information is giving us a good general overview of the type of person that we're targeting. The projected annual income is giving us a sense of the type of jobs that they may have. The professional information, CEO of a mid-sized company is then helpful if we're running a LinkedIn campaign in terms of targeting. Psychographic information can be very helpful in terms of their attitudes when we're engaging these people through our sales team or at events. Pain points and challenges are going to be helpful again for the sales team preparing their approach when they're outreaching to these clients. Goals and aspirations, decision-making process, all are going to be informing our marketing strategy. And these are all responses that we got from ChatGPT. Perfect. So step 4 is generating keyword and a block based on the detailed information that we have generated here. And I'm just going to copy and paste my prompt once again. As you can see, I'm asking, based on the detailed information for this buyer persona, create the following. It is going to make it a little bit more explicit here that these are two separate tasks, task 1 and task 2. So the first task is to prepare a list of long tail keywords and key phrases that this particular persona would be searching for. As you can begin to imagine, this can be very helpful in terms of formulating our SEO strategy for this particular persona for our company, but also in terms of running potentially paid campaigns, Google search, and other paid search online campaigns. And diligently, ChatGPT is providing us with the second task as well, which is giving us list of blog post titles, many of them aligned directly with some of these things. Now, as you can imagine, the next step along the marketing journey is going to be to pick one of these blog titles and just prepare a blog outline for it. So again, I'm copying and pasting my prompt, which I have prepared in advance. Write detail 1,500 word blog post. Just in terms of best practice, typically not many people would read 1,500 word blog post from start to finish. But in terms of best practice, we're seeing that some of the best performing articles in terms of read and engagement on Google tend to be around the 1,500 word mark. So that's why I'm using this. And I'm just going to pick one of the titles that it generated for us. Let's go with that one. Unleashing the benefits of AI for your business, a comprehensive guide. Just putting that as my topic, hitting submit. And lo and behold, ChatGPT is generating start to finish a detailed blog post outline for us. Now, I want to make it quite clear that it is very helpful in terms of performing these exercises. When it comes to writing, it's also writing very compelling and very effective copy. But I would advise against publishing it straight the way it comes before any human editing. I think a human working in collaboration with generative AI and with ChatGPT in particular is going to assure the best possible results. And here we have a detailed outline. As a starting point, we can take this outline into the next step and use it to generate an outline for us. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this outline, just copy and paste it, get it into my clipboard. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a new chat because I need to tweak the plugins that I'm using a little bit. Whereas I just needed to access a link in the previous case, now I'm going to enable world news. I'm going to enable core AI, and I'm going to enable, I'm looking for the payrolls analyst. So these plugins are actually giving me access to external information sources. And I'm going to ask ChatGPT to go and explore the web for relevant information that it can use as links to incorporate into that blog post. And the prompt that I'll be using, again, it's something that I've refined over the time that I've been using ChatGPT. And I'm saying write 1,500 word blog post based on the outline below. Typically, it works quite well if we separate the actual context, or in this case, the outline, by triple quote. Browse the web to include relevant references supporting each major point. That's why I enabled these plugins. And then I'm just giving it some guidance in terms of how to write so that it comes with more human looking and human sounding output. I'm saying write in a professional, knowledgeable, informative, and critical writing style. Use simple and clear sentences. And these are just some special tweaks that I've identified to work quite well. Response language, I wanted to write in British English. I've enabled unique words. Plagiarism is disabled, of course. Uniqueness, 100%. Professional writer, true. And then here I'm putting the triple quotes. 1, 2, 3. The blog post is below. And then on the next line, another triple quotes. And I'm hitting submit. And this is at this point of the presentation, in terms of what I'm showing you, this is the highest level of sophistication. And we can see that sometimes it can make some mistakes. In this case, what we're seeing is that it didn't seem to be using any of the plugins. So I may need to stop it here and go and adjust this to say, please ensure you use the enabled plugins to browse the web. Okay, I'm saving and submitting again and observing whether the response will be any different. Well, in this case, it's misbehaving, but it's part of doing a live demo. To me, it seems that there is no indication of ChatGPT using any of the enabled plugins. So it's just generating a response based on its own understanding, on the data set that it's been trained on. What is quite fascinating to me is that it's still providing references. So this is what would typically be classified as hallucination in generative AI terminology, which means you need to be very mindful and to be careful when analyzing these individual references to make sure that you double check the information that is being provided and ensure that it's accurate and up to date. Now, the important point that I wanted to show you here is that it definitely has potential across the entire marketing spectrum. From planning, we began by simply picking up a website, asking it to come up with user personas. Then we used our knowledge and suggesting that it act as a competent chief marketing officer to elaborate on these personas. And then we use that to identify keywords, come up with an outline, and then finally come up with a more detailed blog post. Now, it's still, by the looks of it, falling short. Oh, actually, I was mistaken. It is using the plugins. It's only using them retrospectively after it added the references. And now it's going to provide us with the list of references. So we have rather detailed outline or a preparation of a blog post prepared just with a couple of simple steps that we performed in ChatGPT. And now, being mindful of time, I'm going to leave it work on that. But what we're going to have in the end is a rather detailed outline that we can take, we can expand, we can elaborate on it, also with references that we can check with links, and we can use them to create a rather compelling blog post, which is aligned with the buyer persona that we created. But before I go back to my presentation and talk you through the 10 steps of scaling AI in your organization, I just wanted to share with you a very powerful resource that I'm using on a daily basis. And that's very important if we're using ChatGPT to generate content, and that's a simple AI content detector by content scale. I'm just taking the output, pasting it here, running the functionality, and seeing the potential areas which may need some additional work before they're good to publish. And I don't have the time to go into detail, but typically with enough practice, you can get it to generate output which is 95 to 100% human. And what we can see here is that basically the probability and pattern are very comparable with human level writer, but the predictability is quite high. and we can see which are the problematic paragraphs that need addressing. Basically, we have a couple of at the start, and then we have some very good quality content that we can use, and then a couple towards the end. So this was a very quick overview of ChatGPT's capabilities. And now I'm just going to wrap up the presentation by sharing with you 10 steps to scaling AI within organizations. And these are, first of all, it's about thinking strategically. It's very, very important to use AI to solve business issues by reducing costs or increasing revenue, and understand its capabilities and experiment strategically. The second step is about recognizing the importance of data. Data is essential for AI success in marketing. So use AI to automate your data organization and visualization and develop a robust data strategy. Number three is about being an informed buyer. Understand AI technology to identify solutions that drive efficiency and performance. Then in the fourth step, it's about prioritizing use case. Pick just one. Focus on one use case at a time during early stages of AI adoption to better understand its potential, to better understand its limitations, and to be able to have a convincing use case so that you can ask for budget to your leadership team. Define key business goals and challenges. In step 5, the primary outcomes of AI initiatives should be either cost reduction and revenue acceleration. Focus on customer experiences, identify new markets, and generate new opportunities when you're comfortable with reducing costs and decide to go after revenue generation. Number 6, educate and engage your leadership team. Get buy-in from leaders by helping them understand the potential hurdles and the value of learning through experimentation. Number 7, reimagine the marketing team. Prepare for disruption, continuously upskill and collaborate with AI-driven agencies or consulting firms if necessary to nurture talent. Just as an example, LinkedIn Learning recently made available over 100 courses on generative AI. I've completed more than 10 in the last couple of months myself, and I personally continue learning. I've read a couple of books on writing prompts for generative AI, a couple of good books on using AI for marketing. So it's a very dynamic space, and the only way to feel comfortable is to continually upskill and stay informed. Now, I'm not saying it's possible to be informed of everything that is happening simply because the field is moving too quickly, but don't be paralyzed by FOMO or fear of missing out. Just focus on the use cases that matter to you and try to be as informed and capable with regards to them. Moving back to number 8, train your team and explore AI together. Create comprehensive learning programs to exploit AI's potential, include professional development sessions, talk courses, and certifications in the training strategy. Number 9 is very interesting because it's about encouraging joint learning between humans and machines, promote mutual learning for better financial gains from AI, and facilitate continuous systematic learning and adopt a flexible approach to change. What I mean by that is that the more I use ChatGPT, the more I see how it thinks, how it structures its writing and its responses, and actually it's shaping how I write outside of that, because I create a lot of content either for work or for a book that I'm working on outside of work. Anyway, my point is ChatGPT is no longer simply a tool, but it's more of a partner. I'm seeing the way that it formulates speech and thinking, and I'm using some of that as best practice in my own work. And finally, use AI to humanize your brand. Use AI to automate repetitive tasks and concentrate on creativity, relationship building, and empathy, which are the uniquely human activities. Use AI to free more time for uniquely human activities like thinking and communicating with other people. This covers everything that I wanted to talk about today. Thanks so much for being such a great and attentive audience. I just want to leave you with some further reading that you can explore. AI and the Future of Metaverse Marketing is an article that I recently published on LinkedIn, and you can find it. It's a very good balance between being concise and still covering everything that you need to know in detail. And then if you want a deeper read, I would definitely recommend the book Marketing Artificial Intelligence. Both of them are with links. I can provide the slides afterwards if you're interested. And in terms of resources, please just send me connection request on LinkedIn, get in touch. More than happy to help and share what I know. And of course, then ChatGPT goes without saying, something I use on a daily basis and recommend. OpenAI's tokenizer helps you calculate the number of tokens that you're using so that you can understand how much scope you have within your prompt and within the response. Then DAWI, of course, we touched on that. Some of the previous presenters talked about the capabilities in terms of image generation. Bing Image Create, also a great resource. The Content Scale AI Content Detector, especially helpful for people using AI for content creation. Now we know that Google's latest thinking is that it doesn't penalize AI or computer-generated content as long as it meets the criteria for EATT, which is expertise, authoritativeness, trustworthiness, etc., etc. There is an AI for that.com, especially powerful website, just combining all the recent advances in AI. You just type your search query and it's giving you all the helpful tools. And then finally, if you want to really become good at prompting, I strongly recommend learnprompting.org, an organization providing free courses, and OpenAI's own guides on GPT best practices. Thanks so much once again. And now I'll stop sharing. And I would be delighted to take any questions from anyone here.
Thank you so much, Martin, for your valuable insights on generative AI and marketing. So now we are open for questions. And the first question for you is from Mohammed. He is asking, is ChatGPT Pro worth paying for normal users?
Great question, Mo, and thanks so much for asking it. From my perspective, it really depends on what you're using it for. Most day-to-day tasks, if it comes just to summarizing, troubleshooting your code, probably you can go with just ChatGPT. In my case, I'm using it a lot for writing. And when I experimented and I was getting output from ChatGPT and running it through the content detector, through the AI content analyzer, I discovered that GPT Plus is generating consistently higher quality, regardless of the quality of the prompt that I'm using. So when it comes to writing or more sophisticated analysis, I would definitely recommend it. Also, whereas previously the difference was just in the model used, GPT 3.5 versus GPT 4, now we have the added benefit of the plugins, which in my view, from where I stand, it's a no-brainer. I would always go with the GPT Plus version.
I have a question, please.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. You can ask.
Hi, Martin. So a nice speak. Congratulations. I just have a question. So with all the verdicts of AI, how do you explain that some people still mistrust artificial intelligence? So what do you think about this?
That's a great question. Thanks so much for asking it, because I think part of it is human nature, and it's far more basic than ChatGPT itself. It's more of a mistrust about something new or a fundamental fear about our relevance as professionals. And I think many of us can relate to that, but especially in the marketing field, we're seeing so many applications that it's raising questions about our job and our job safety. So it's perhaps easier to be on the fence and be critical and say, oh, I don't trust it, or its capability is not good enough, it's not getting close to human level. But the alternative is to embrace it, to realize that it's probably not going to go away. Neither we as humans are going to go away, because everything that I showed in ChatGPT wouldn't have happened without these prompts that I gave it. So to me, the middle way is to be not overly hyped, but not be skeptical and be realistic. Just be mindful of its capabilities, be mindful that it has limitations, it can hallucinate, even as we saw in the live demo, but also at the same time keep learning, being willing to challenge our own preconceived notions and see if it can help us in our day-to-day activities. So I think having that critical balance is very important. And part of the reason why there are people who are consistently critical is also because there are people who are consistently over-optimistic. And to prevent that excessive hype, have a more balanced and more nuanced conversation, I think it's helpful to have people on both sides and ideally walk the middle path where we have a balanced perspective.
Yeah.
I hope that answers your pleasure.
Thank you.
Such a great question.
Thank you.
Are there any more questions?
Can I ask one question, Martin?
Yeah, sure. You can.
So, like, I'm listening to a lot of conferences, just wanted to know your thought about this conversational AI. Is it going to change the way people search? Like the search that was dominated by Google for 20 years. Do you think that these tools, because there is a lot of debate that it is not going to replace search. It is not going to replace search. But I have a feeling that that people who are going to search will reduce dramatically. But what are your thoughts about this? Because right, Bard has also started, Bing also has started, and I feel that search is going to change. The way people are going to search will change by these tools that are available. But what is your impact? Will it be in the very near future, or what are your thoughts? Will it because it is a very question mark statement that is being there for many companies.
Yes, it is indeed. And thanks again for the question. It's very relevant. As we know, Google, one of the largest companies, and almost synonymous with search. We say I'll Google it, not I'll search the web for it. And this is outside of my strict area of expertise. So I'm just going to be sharing some general observations, not based on so much experience. But personally, I think the way that we think about search is going to be the critical determinator of the quality of the result that we get. Doing a search, even if using Google, is still a skill in terms of using the operators, getting the right keywords in. It's just we're moving more and more to a conversational space where we will be able to use various forms of input for search, visual, audio, etc. So it's definitely being transformed, but by the very fact that both Bing and Google are introducing these functionalities within their search platforms indicates that the companies are already evolving. So they're ready for this. So the way that I see it is going to be more of a gradual evolution versus a massive revolution. And perhaps there will be still space to do just a regular search when you're interested in specifically getting outcomes for web pages, then search will be your go-to. If you want more of a nuanced response, or you're moving to actually completing a task, then a chat-based or conversational-based search is going to be more relevant. This is my view on this at this stage. If I learn more, I'll be happy to share it on LinkedIn, and we will be delighted to connect with you, Mohammed, and just stay in touch.
Thank you, Martin.
Pleasure.
Well, that marks the end of our Q&A session. Thank you so much, Martin, for connecting with us.